Thank you. Thank you, Collier County. Thank you for 1Million Cups. And thank you for Kauffman Foundation for having the vision to put this kind of thing in motion. I'm here to talk about Naples Culinary Walks. I'm also here to talk about the power of this part of the world and what it can do to change your life, enhance your life, and just make things fun. We went from the .ai, artificial intelligence, from our first presenter, to my totally low-tech banner here. And that's for a reason. Back in 1973, Mr. Kauffman bought the Royals, the Kansas City Royals, and built a stadium. And one of the first things that actually blew the minds of the Kansas City people that came to that stadium was a 10-story scoreboard. 1973 is the first of its kind. When you walk into the accelerator, we've got the same sense of scale. And I think that's very impressive. I want you to keep that front of mind, because whether you're walking around with my cardboard sign or streaming an AI onto the digital waves, you've got to keep in your mind that things are in scale. Naples Culinary Walks is a way to understand what's in Naples, to understand the culinary, as a Harvard guy started to articulate back in 1993, what the business ecosystem is of Naples, and to understand what the how you can have fun as a local or as a host for your own guests. A year ago, I discovered that there was a niche that looked to be filled. Naples Culinary Walks was created because no one was touring around on foot to show people the really dense, compact, fantastic, separate personality neighborhoods that we have that cluster our restaurant destinations. So I take 4 to 12 people who register online. Most people find me online. And at this point in the evolution of this business, and we go 4 to 12 people as a small group, and we walk. We walk to the restaurants, we walk to the business, the sites along the way. You're going to find out about Naples' first mayor. You're going to find out about the sea grape that you can mail to your best friend that, is a copy of that's in the Smithsonian, that's on the bushes that you're walking by. You're going to find out about the chef that's in this restaurant that we're going into, who has won prizes around the world. And you're going to share in part of that thing. I have people that have, typically right now, people that have already been on a food tour somewhere in the world. And that's how I got the interest in doing it. It's a great way to not only understand where you are, have a good meal, but also kind of leverage a couple of hours. We're out about 3 hours at a time, and learn where you are, socialize, and come away with a lot of different kinds of goodies. I go to 7 locations in Naples, and over time, I've had hundreds of people now in this first year. I threw it out there. I had no idea what the response would be. But I have groups of ladies who are coming with birthday celebrations. I have couples who have gotten a gift certificate from their tech-savvy kids across the nation who said, "Mom and Dad, you got to go and have fun. Get off the golf course. Go get off of the usual circuit that you do and do something in town that maybe you haven't done before." One of the other things was my teacher friend. Yes, thank you. She's very involved with entrepreneur programs in town. I also like to enhance that as well with my Naples Culinary Walks. We have this awesome, not only do we go to the restaurants, but you have to look and say, okay, Naples has attracted all of these fantastic chefs and all this wonderful food, but where's our feeder pipeline to keep this thing going? And in many cases, it's right in front of you. It's at our local high schools. It's at our colleges. And we have a really strong several programs in town. You're teaching a high school program in the public schools. Thank you. But we also have a Lorenzo Walker program. It's a culinary program. And I went to a parade. We went to the Martin Luther King parade, and there were some kids set up in the park, so squared away, high school kids. They had their table out, they had their smocks, they had all the branding done, they had beautiful packaging, and they were showing people the vegan cookies that they were making. And they were very proud of the fact that and they still are, they're doing a great business, growing as well. They're still in high school. They're created Naples' first vegan bakery.
It's called Megan.
And it's called, yes, N for Naples, N-A, G-A-N for last part of vegan. And so do it. I mean, you can buy directly from them. And so I said, oh my God, somehow we're not going to walk to Lorenzo High School. We're definitely going to include your cookies and your activity to introduce to people on these walks to know what is that subcurrent underneath Naples, what keeps this business going for food in Naples. So we have vegan cookies at our walks, and they get the whole story about how the kids started and what they do. And that is just a small version of how we enhance our walks. We're not just like going from A to B, and it's boring. No, we're going A to B, and not only do I give a little spiel about what we're seeing, but I draw up from people who are walking themselves. They're there, they've got fantastic histories, and we get to know what their view of the world is. Like Dennis, one of our participants here today has a food background. He's also got a cultural understanding, and all of our walkers, with just a little bit of an entree, will share that. So you come away feeling like, I made a friend, I learned some things, I'm enriched. So it's, to participate, it's $80 for a 3-hour tour. We make 5 food stops, and we go to, we have tours in the morning for breakfast, we have tours in the afternoon, and one very popular one, we have 2 tours in the evening, one at Mercado and another one at Bayfront, which is an often overlooked neighborhood, but has a rich, rich amount of things to offer. We even have a little gal that's on a boat. Her goal in life, she told her husband, I loved your story, ladies, because it was like, who am I and how do I show it off and get it into the world? And she told her husband at the age of 50, I want to buy a boat, and I want to paint it pink and white, and I want to sell ice cream on Keewaydin Island. Yes, she's terrific. So we go visit in the pink boat at Bayfront and get our little ice cream fix and talk to the captain, who is a lady entrepreneur as well. So there's all these entrepreneurial things going on. Why am I here today? I am really jazzed about these, the momentum that Naples Culinary Walks has created. Some of my guests, my clients have said, oh, do you go to Lee County? And I went, that's north, right? So I guess I gotta go to Lee County. If someone puts that in your ear, that's the universe telling you that's a new direction and calling you. So I went up to Lee County, haven't been up there for a while, and went to this neighborhood. It's the original historic neighborhood of Cape Coral, and it's a 47th terrace. And it turns out that's a completely different environment than what we have in Naples, but I've got people that are going up there for the brew pubs, for the gastro pubs, for the really clever food. They might not have chefs in their kitchen, but they got 3 guys with like decades of experience and creativity who are making a whole new scene in Southwest Florida. So as of this week, we are officially launched as Cape Coral Culinary Tours. I've hired a gal to service that market, and my objective here within the next 2 years is to have a separate guide. I'm the chief cook and bottle washer. I'm doing it all right now. I would like a separate guide for each neighborhood in Naples. They become the expert. They would it would be like the Kaufmans who pioneered this. They did a revenue share with the laboratories that he created. I would like to do that right off the bat. Whoever becomes my guide will do my revenue share. And as an independent contractor, they would take charge of that particular tour. And we can profile that. And so we'll leverage their experience with what we're already doing all over Naples. So that's, how did I get into this whole thing? I'm one of those people at the age of 71, I'm going to fall into my grave doing something. I have to do something that is fun, creative, worthwhile, and it's going to energize other people. And that's how I feel justified. I had 26 years as a federal career, which I retired in '98. I was one of the first women special agents for U.S. government and investigated white-collar crime. Transferable skills. Here I am showing people restaurants. Yeah, it's transferable because I'm the one digging into the Historical Society to find out, oh, you published a newspaper over here at Bayfront? I got some journalists. They're coming in for a food tour. I'm going to show them the copy of the first newspaper in Naples. And so we've got like all kinds of cool things that will come of it. There's no throwaway experience. It all just flows into whatever next you're going to do. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
I think it's a particularly great idea because growing up in Europe, I've been to Italy and many places, and you have a lot of these culinary tours. I guess my big question is, this time of the year it's really hot. How much distance do each of your walks cover? Because will that wear people out, for instance? Will that restrict the sort of demographics that you're going to be that are going to come on your tours because it's so hot at times?
Yes. 3 questions here.
Yeah.
He's asked about food tours in other parts of the country. That really was the genesis for this. People, I've done them to get acquainted with other areas of the world. People who come to my tours, inevitably one of them have been to a food tour before somewhere. And so that is contagious, and they tell their friends and they come and they spread that. We cover about a mile and a half total over 3 hours, but we're interrupting that with food stops at 5 restaurants. So you walk a little and you sit a little and you nosh. And you walk a little and you sit a little and you eat a lot more. And then you keep going. The distance fades. We don't really have that. I only had one experience where there was an older lady who said that she really was kind of fading. She says, I really can't finish. And so, as it turned out, how can I do this discreetly? She would rather shop.
Right.
So we lost her, but her friends discovered her covering the miles on foot doing retail. So that was okay. That was all right. She was ready to do something else. So I discounted the claim that the distance was too long because as an individual, she just had to mask her other needs with, I'm too tired, it's too hot. The other thing that is interesting, we are in a very cyclical place, and the rhythm of Southwest Florida can be off-putting to some people. But with Naples Culinary Walks, I have a disclaimer that Mother Nature is the boss. If she wants to throw lightning at us, we're not going to argue. We're not going to go out. And I won't subject my people to really severe weather like that. We had a downpour, and we were at Tin City, and we needed to go more toward Fifth Avenue. That's where Uber comes along. I'll flip for Uber. My group is small enough. So I've only had to do that once, and that was like an unexpected downpour. I will stop. I learned last year I attempted to start this business in August. That was ill-advised. The weather really argues against that. It's too rainy. It's too hot. We had environmental issues that we're struggling with. I couldn't have people walking out by the Naples Pier or at Venetian Village with the amount of red tide. It was really punitive, and it was not, people were struggling. So I shut down for all of August and part of September, and really started up at the end of September.
Is there any other questions?
When you go to the different restaurants, do you have
Yeah, the question is, when you go to a restaurant, is already pre-planned? Absolutely, because, I mean, I'm okay for surprises, but like, I'm a little bit of a control freak, so definitely, and this is something that came from my research of other people doing food tours. It seems that there's a global business model that says 5 stops, 3 hours, and at those restaurants, they're all individuals. So you need to, my generic thing is that I like everyone to have balance. So by the end, you get meat, fish, vegetable, starch, fruit, and dessert. And how I mix it up is I do low tech again, take their menus, talk to the kitchen and say, what are you good at? Somebody's got a watermelon salad that's to die for. That's going in there. And it might not be in order. I might have gelato next. But I do talk to everyone. People that come are trusting. They know that I have pre-selected it. And that's part of the adventure. What are we going to have? How are we going to try this? And I tell them, I picked. You can, it's okay. If you don't want to eat it, it's okay. But next stop, you'll probably be stealing from the guy next to you. So it all works out. Definitely pick it, definitely price it, and that's how I control the revenue as well.
Yeah.
It's the same as mobility issues. I can't accommodate it. I'm not a health practitioner, and so I don't recommend anyone that has a food sensitivity or a preference to participate. I've had two people come who don't eat fish. They simply, there's more than one selection at each stop, so they simply ate the veggies, skipped to the shellfish, and we were on to the next stop. So, but no, I can't do that. It's too cumbersome, and I don't want to make a mistake. That's too important. Yes, sir?
What's your follow-on rate? So if somebody took a tour, that same person took another one. What percentage of your
I'd love to have that. The question is, what's your repeat customer rate? And I'd love to have that insight. This is my first season. I do know that I've had relatives come who have sent other people. And because we're kind of in a transitory area, I don't have a grasp yet on who's going to return following season. Yes, sir.
You have electric tricycles, segways, and bus tours around Garden, especially downtown. And the question is, are you interrelating to those other businesses? Because if they're going to rent the tricycle to tour downtown, maybe those same adventuresome people will want to do a walking tour and have.
That's a great idea. How do you leverage Naples Culinary's walk with other tour businesses?
Yeah.
Yes. I've explored the tricycle angle, but they let people out hourly and by a set time limit. I go out for 3 hours, so it really cuts into their turnover. So, but what we have exchanged, and I think this is really fun, I stop and I give people pennies when we hit a fountain, and they get to, it's not Trevi, but they get to throw their pennies in and make a wish. And so the tricycle people are doing that now. So we do share our, what we're doing, but we're still working on trying to leverage each other's activities.
Good.
One last question?
Yeah, it seems to me that concierges at the hotels should be your best friend.
Correct.
I think that you should be targeting those. I think that that's really a good avenue for you.
I think that's a great insight. A gentleman pointed out the strength of concierge business. And I personally visited 43 of them this season. There's two things that happen with concierge. There's a professional organization called the Golden Key. And those guys, international, whoever's a concierge and they're part of the Golden Key, they prided themselves in making a visitor experience, maximizing it, and not doing it on referrals, on kickbacks, doing it for free as a service to the guests of the hotel. Those people are the ones I want to work with, because the other ones are doing it for, as a business promotion. I can't fault them for that, but I like to have, I'm not at an income level to be able to pay those premiums or those sponsor fees.
Ma'am, is there anything us as a community can do for you?
Yes, the question is, what do we do for Naples Culinary Walks? My challenge right now is much like the concierge question. I would like to tap into groups as opposed to the 2s and the 3s, 4s, or even the 6s or 8s. I would like to book out my 12-person tours each time. And I believe the way to do that is to tap into the groups who are looking for things to do. I need some assistance in knowing how to reach them in an effective way.
Awesome. And we want to thank the SCORE mentors for showing up in full force today. Everybody else, Ashley, could you please come up and do your closing?